What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, as well as this video. Today, guys, as you guys can see down below in the description box, we're doing something a little bit different here, coming into my media section here on my YouTube channel. As you guys can also check out the whole new readjustment of the YouTube channel. I am deciding to bring back the Justin Godsey podcast, but with the new name. You guys can still find me on YouTube. You guys are currently watching this. You know, it's embedded on my website. It's also embedded here or it's already here on YouTube. But you guys can check me out on youtube.com/the Justin Godsey podcast. Links to my social media, Facebook, Twitter, all down below in the description. I do talk a lot of sports, also professional wrestling, because pro wrestling is a big thing in my life, as well as football and baseball, mixed martial arts, and in whole. I'm a huge sports guy. I'm going to be going to school, and I'm currently in school doing sports broadcasting. I really want to do a broadcast, be a broadcast journalist or a writer. So I really do this channel to really branch out and talk about sports in general. Get what are my thoughts. I want to do like a podcast like those professionals do, like you guys can see, like Scott Van Pelt does, the Rich Eisen podcast, and get paid for it. That's going to be a job that I always wanted to do. So I usually use YouTube as this, standing point and this, launching point for myself. But you know what, being a professional, in my sports discussions, doing the interviews, I also like to, talk about media. I like to talk about movies. I like to talk about TV shows. And today, guys, I'm here, doing another sports approach, and talking about, DVD collecting. I really love doing the DVD collecting. I am not a person who gets a check and go out and just waste it. I am 19 years old. I do have a job. I take my job very seriously, and you know what? You always got to put your priorities first. Car payments, rent, everything like that, and then you have the money that you live off of, and then you got to save up. You got to move out. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm not the kind of person, once I get my check, I'm gonna go out and spend it. Priorities come first for myself. So in this collection, as you guys can see, I don't have anything current for TNA, but I do have a lot of TNA DVDs, and the reason why I did collect them is because I'm a huge old school TNA fan. I love the product in TNA. It's much better than WWE and this PG crap. I'm just sick and tired of it. TNA is TV 14. It's a little, they get away with the swear words or the curse words. They get away with a lot of stuff. It's a little bit more better wrestling. It's the Divas division, and WWE is terrible, but the Knockouts division is good. I prefer the Knockouts over the Divas, and in general, TNA is a great company. So I decided to take the opportunity and get back into pro wrestling. Pro wrestling was a big hit on my channel for a number of videos, but once I decided to go to the sports beat, we're still doing a lot of stuff. That's where I write a lot of my articles on. I'm going to be doing a lot more pro wrestling, by the way, so make sure you guys go and check that out. So I really want to get back into TNA, and what better way to do it is to show off my collection of TNA DVDs. I do have a nice variety of DVDs, about 15, 16 maybe, around there. I haven't really counted them, but like I said, I'm an old school TNA collector. I'm trying to go out there and get a couple of DVDs. I do have a little bit of money saved up so I can go out and get a couple, so I can do like an unbagging or an unboxing, whatever it's shipped in. So let's get right into this. Cut with the chit chat and let's get right into it. My first DVD I'm going to show you guys is an event from on March 9th, 2008. Destination X 2008. It was a very intriguing event. I really did like it. I liked it because of the Elevation X match. It was James Storm versus Rhino in a very interesting storyline involving Rhino's addiction to alcohol, and it played very well into a storyline with James Storm. You also get the main event of Christian Cage aligning himself with Kevin Nash and Samoa Joe, as AJ Styles and Tomko were a part of Christian's coalition at the time in TNA, as they decided to betray Christian, side with Kurt Angle, who was having a great heel run at that current time in TNA. I liked the Angle Alliance, I think is what they called it, and AJ Styles, being that, cookie, wacky kind of a person, had like a different character from, other, the original AJ character, very serious, but he had like a different kind of character, during that storyline. So it was an overall very good event. I got it, it was a very cheap DVD. I was really happy that I got it. I pretty much got it for Elevation X. That was a very great matchup. I've always liked, this aspect of Elevation X. I wish they, brought it back. Next up is a DVD that I just fell in love with because it was one of the first DVDs I ever got. I have a couple other TNA DVDs. It's not currently here. It's out of Bud's house. We watched, a couple of TNA DVDs. We did record a couple of TNA DVD reviews that's going to be posted here on the channel. So, I left it over there. We were big professional wrestling fans. We've been watching professional wrestling since we were young. Way before he did, I started watching. But, this was my first ever TNA DVD along with Destination X 2005. It's the best of the X Division Vol. Volume 2. The cover artwork was fantastic. AJ Styles, Chris Sabin, P.D. Williams, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe, reigning supreme at the top. This is actually going to be a DVD I'm going to be watching, in about 15 minutes from this video being made. I really did love this. There was a ton of matches. Look at the matches you get on this DVD. That is insane. I mean, you have to go out and buy this DVD. I know it's still available. Some people, it's out of print right now, so TNA does not, go out there and make it again and make it again and make it again. I was lucky enough to really jump on it and snag it. Next up, it's the Best of the Bloodiest Brawl, Scars and Stitches. I don't know, is this like a Volume 1, or I know they made another one, or Best of the Bloodiest Brawls. This one has Abyss on it. This is actually Volume 2 because I remember Sabu was on one, but this is, Volume 2, Best of the Bloodiest Brawls. Abyss is the definition of hardcore. He's like the Mick Foley of TNA. There's just so many great matches. I really bought this one because there was a match in a DVD I do not have. It's involving... it involves, Abyss. It's Abyss, Tomko, and Raven, and Spike Dudley. It was a very great match. I think it was that Bound for Glory. It was that match that really got me, hooked onto it. The barbed wire cage match, and on Impact between Rhino and Christian Cage, in the last Brights match between the Icon Sting and Abyss. So that was a very good DVD. If you're really in hardcore wrestling fan, that's a DVD for you. This other one I got from Craigslist. The guy really his cat got to it, and it's locked down. 2007. If you see it right there, he said like a cat or something got to it, but I decided to take out like the plastic right here. I got it for $2, and I was like, I got a couple of singles. The guy said he wants to sell it, so I was like, you know what, let's just do it. I just went out there, I got it. This was a pretty interesting event because they had the electrifying steel cage match, which building up to it, it was Team 3D versus LAX. I was like, they're not gonna have an electrifying steel cage match, because when you really look at it, I thought that cage match was a fail. And a lot of people are gonna be like, why? I bought this DVD because it was the Voodoo Kin Mafia, aka the New Age Outlaws, versus Serotonin. I love Raven. I'm a huge Raven fan. Always will, always has, and always will be a Raven fan. He was actually being taking part in the pre-show. I've seen this about 6 or 7 times. Not only was it because of that, and also because you also got to see Austin Starr, aka Austin Aries, versus Senshi, before Senshi, aka Loki, Senshi, aka Loki, went over to WWE for the NXT. Next up, the Best of TNA 2007. This one I don't see a lot of people have in their collection. I got this for $6 or $7 at an FYE. That's where I usually pick up my TNA DVDs. The FYE has TNA DVDs for like $3 or $4. And jumping on TNA, the Best of TNA 2007. It was a really interesting matchup. It was a really interesting year for TNA. I kind of fell in love with the year. I still think 2005 was that cemented year for TNA. There was a lot of great matches, including the Genesis ladder match between Kaz and Christian Cage. A lot of people were thinking that Kaz was actually going to win it, but that was overall a very good DVD to recap the year, with some of the greatest matches on for that DVD. Excuse me, I should have got like a glass of water. My throat's kind of dry. Next up, TNA Bound for Glory 2007. I do have 2 copies of this one. A lot of people say it's a very rare TNA event. A lot of people saying it's one of the best. And if you have this DVD, you're the badass. I know about 80% of the people on YouTube have this DVD. But the other 20%, if you guys want a copy of this, DVD, I can send you it. It's been open. I've never watched it because it was a Christmas present of mine. And I'm willing to to give it up or give it for a trade. I'm looking for a Jeff Hardy DVD. Enigma, I know those are very high quality DVDs. A lot of TNA fans are Jeff Hardy fans, but you guys are willing to make a deal. I'm looking for the Enigma DVD for Jeff Hardy, so please let me know if you're interested in Bound for Glory 2007 to add to your collection. Hit me up. I do have another copy of it, and I'll even come on like on a live stream or make a video and I'll show you on how good condition it is. But needless to say, this was a good event. Kurt Angle versus Sting. This is a matchup that everybody has been wanting to see for years. Hopefully, then we get Undertaker versus Sting, as Sting is now in the WWE. Next up is the a documentary, some of like the greatest matches of AJ Styles. I know there's I think this is Volume 2. This is Volume 1. Volume 2, there's another Volume 2 for Phenomenal, the Best of AJ Styles. I got this because I'm a big AJ Styles fan, and of course it's because it's the old school stuff, dating back to, I think this was actually dating back to 2003, because this was put out on the shelves in 2005. So, a lot of the, old school TNA matches where you get to see, TNA didn't have like a music deal yet with, whoever they have right now, and AJ was like, coming out to country music. So was Jerry Lynn. Everybody had like the same theme back then. So that was kind of a old school TNA there for you. Another one of the DVDs I have, I apologize. Another one of the DVDs I have is Nevermore, the Best of Raven. This I was looking for about 5 or 6 years. Until like 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months ago, I found it on a shelf at an FYE for about $5. I was about, the happiest person in my life because I am such a huge Raven fan. Raven was always, he was that outside character. In ECW, he was the most controversial figure. In WWE, he had a smaller role, but he was still one of my, favorite wrestlers in WWE at the time. I wasn't really the hardcore fan of The Rock. I love Steve Austin. I didn't really care for Triple H. Don't even care for Triple H to this day. But it was Raven. I'm a huge Raven fan, diehard Raven fan. I really got this because, like I said, big Raven fan. I couldn't, I'd be happy once I found that DVD. I mean, how can you not have a TNA collection, DVD collection without the 50th greatest moments? Needless to say, 50 greatest moments, Raven with that, shaved head, Vampiro, another one of my all-time favorites. Raven getting his head shaved, due to the Shane Douglas matchup there. He lost to Shane Douglas. And James Mitchell, Vampiro coming out. It was pretty much a controversial day for TNA in that day. Next up, I think this was 2006. Yeah, 2006 Lockdown. 2006 Lockdown, a very, very, under the radar kind of event. A lot of people say this was a hard DVD to find as well. I know this is, in certain areas it's very hard, but this is a very good event. I love this event a whole lot. Team Canada versus Team 3D in the Anthem match. You also got to see Christian Cage versus Abyss, and one of the most controversial storylines. TNA went the extra mile to actually have a cutscene or one of those promos if you actually see Abyss invade Christian's home in Tampa, Florida, where he was living. I don't know if he's living there now, but at the time, Abyss was going to drown Christian Cage in his pool, and TNA, a lot of fans had a lot of issues with that storyline, and it was just so personal, and to see Christian come out on top and win that was, a great feeling. So, a very controversial kind of event, but needless to say, build up to, the main event, but needless to say, it was a very good one. Next up, we have Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle headlining Lockdown 2008. I really liked this event a whole lot. There was just so much put into it. The match card was stacked. Cuffed in the cage. It was, tag teams. BJ James versus Kip James in that, the former Partners Collide matchup. The end of the Voodoo Kin Mafia. The tag team match between Raisha Saeed and Awesome Kong. Gail Kim and ODB. Queen of the Cage was alright. Roxy Laveau is one of my favorite knockouts of all time, the hardcore knockout. Lethal Lockdown, Team Cage, and Tomko even had a big push in TNA in 08. He finally broke apart from Kurt Angle, and it was a very stacked matchup. It was Team Cage versus Tomko. Tomko had AJ Styles, Team 3D, and James Storm. Christian Cage had Sting, Rhino, Kevin Nash, and Matt Morgan, who was actually coming onto the scene. So it was overall a very exciting matchup. I pretty much got it because of the main event. I mean, for the TNA World Championship, Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, very, very exciting event. Also, you get the X Division Escape match. So this could be another DVD I should be previewing here coming up. Next up, we got TNA Slammiversary 2008. I think this was in Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. It was a very. This was the match that. This was the event. A lot of people say it really kicked off everything. It really kicked off. I can't really explain because in 2008 I was kind of off and on because I was doing a lot of school during the time, slacking off on the grades. So I was like, can I put professional wrestling aside? It was a pretty interesting matchup. I got this because it was on sale. Can't really say much about it. I really do apologize. But this was a very, I remember watching this, and there was a matchup involving, it was the King of the Mountain match. It had Christian Cage, Samoa Joe, Rhino, Booker T, and Robert Roode. I think this was when Robert Roode started getting, you know, a big push in singles competition, and I kind of still like him with Beer Money. Beer Money is probably one of the best tag teams in TNA. But at the time, you know, Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, with Tracy Brooks. At the time, it was he was one of the, you know, prolific heels. He kind of had like a Kurt Hennig look to him, you know, dressing up in that, you know, rhinestone robe going down the ringside. So it was a pretty, you know, interesting card. Final Resolution 2006 was Sting on the cover. Sting on the cover was in Lockdown 2006. 2006, this was a pretty excellent card. It was, you know, the return of an icon. This was Sting's return to TNA. I know TNA had Sting once before. I think it was the same night that Jeff Hardy made his return, made his TNA debut after leaving the WWE. But this was Sting's first ever event back with TNA. I think Sting returned in 04 or 04 or 03. It was one of the years, and then Sting walked away from, you know, TNA for a while, and everything just really went personal, and everything went down south. But he was in a tag team match with Christian Cage versus, you know, Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown, aka Marcus Corvan. If you guys are watching the new ECW back in 2008, 2007. X Division matchup between Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels. The NWA World Tag Team match between America's Most Wanted. It was a very good matchup, you know, with Team 3D versus AMW. International X Showcase. It was AJ Styles versus Tanahashi. Rhino versus Abyss. Raven versus Sean Waltman. The James Gang. It was one of the three names that the James Gang. It was Monty Sop or Kip Sop. It's the New Age Outlaws. I don't know if they ran with their real names in TNA for the longest time, but it was like BG James and Kip James. It was just like a big, you know, clusterfuck when when the Road Dogg Jesse James and Badass Billy Gunn went over to TNA. It was alright, nothing really too fancy. I'm down to my final two DVDs. I got TNA Destination X 2007. I think this was the first Elevation X match. There was also the main event between Christian Cage and Samoa Joe before the TNA Heavyweight Championship came into the fold. I think it was like a year later, but it was pretty much in the dire ends of having the NWA TNA Championship belt. There was also Kurt Angle and Scott Steiner. There was also a Sting versus Abyss in that last rites match. You put him in a coffin, and the coffin just rises, and it was a pretty bloody matchup. Also, it was a very excellent match because it was also a very excellent night because not only do you get, you know, those three matches on the card, you also get yourself a nice ghetto brawl between LAX and Team 3D, and Senshi versus Austin Starr, aka Austin Aries. So that was overall pretty interesting, and also you do get a mixed tag team match between James Storm and Jackie Moore, Petey Williams, and Gail Kim. Final DVD. I'm an alright fan of this guy. Abyss, Doomsday, the Best of Abyss. Really, it was one of those DVDs where they were pretty much trying to have like a documentary that has its off and on times of, you know, this was very, very good. It had this like feeling where when you go into the full details about the DVD, you get the story in the extra section. This is where it started really creeping me out a whole lot because they really put on this storyline where Abyss shot his dad because he was abusing his mom, and then she appeared on stage, and then all of a sudden it started showing pictures of, you know, the actual character Abyss. But it was actually the character playing Abyss. It was the actual, you know, person in real life, but leading up to what happened with Abyss. And it's just, you know, weird music. It made you feel uncomfortable. You have to go out and purchase the DVD and check out the actual story. But when it came into the storyline with Sting, it was very interesting because, you know, at the time, I was still a pretty young person. I'm still getting, you know, this is about what? My second year watching TNA. 2006 was good. 2007 was really took off, and the DVD was released in what, 2007? Yeah, it was released in 2007, and that was the time James Mitchell really had full control of Abyss. Because I know Abyss also had a different manager back in the day when he was wearing that blue get-up shirt. Now he's wearing that black shirt, and then he has like a whole new character now. But you know, that was the real Abyss character. Now then we have the whole new Abyss character with this some PhD guy wearing glasses. I mean, I've really taken a big fall in the TNA, you know, over the years, I really went back to old school TNA. I mean, I could sit here and talk about TNA for the next hour and a half. And, that's how big of the TNA fan back in the day. But you know what? A lot of the stuff really, came around Abyss, and that storyline with Sting. And I can go into full detail. I plan on doing a review of that DVD within the next 3 or 4 days. And I can give you guys some more insight. But needless to say, in a condensed version, pretty, weird. If you're really into, like, whiplash music of a person getting, like, a belt or some of the dungeon stuff, it scares the crap out of you for watching it in a room and you see these baby pictures, and then right at the end of it, you hear a gunshot or something like that. It scares the crap out of you. If you really if you're in the mind of a professional wrestling fan, you would really understand, because TNA at the time did have a couple of, interesting storylines. The Abyss of drowning Christian Cage in his pool, the shooting incident with, Abyss shooting his dad, Sting finding out, chaining James Mitchell to a prison chain. Or a chain link fence next to a prison. It's just, it's like, what the hell? But Abyss was involved in a couple of good, interesting but good storylines. It was really, impacted a whole lot in TNA in 2007. It was that really surround me storyline. So there you go, guys. That's all I have for you guys for now. That's all my DVD collection. I have it right here. I'm not going to go a quick sim, but there's my DVD collection for TNA. I am currently on the lookout for more TNA DVDs. And if you guys want to share your guys' DVD, I don't know if it's the video response anymore. If you guys still do video responses, make sure you guys, put the video down below. Leave a link. You guys can also post your videos on my Facebook page. If you want the real sports talk, if you want legit sports talk, I can debate with you guys in just about every sport. Baseball. I'm a Giants fan personally. I'm a Chargers fan for football. I'm a huge, sports fan. I'm taking this very seriously, but this media section, I really get to, let loose and just, talk to you guys, talk to the professional wrestling community on YouTube, the fans on YouTube. So let me hear your guys' opinion about this. Let me hear what you guys think about the DVDs. If you guys are interested in Bound for Glory 2007, I do have 2 copies of it. If you're really looking for it, I would like to trade with you for any DVD that you guys do not see here. So I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for checking out Justin Godsey TV. Click that subscribe button, and please show your support by clicking that subscribe button. And, every subscriber, it puts a smile on my face that you guys are checking out this video. Once again, thank you so much for checking out the video. I'll catch you guys next time.